Imagine you're living 30,000 years ago. The sun is set. A small group of humans sits around a fire, eating the remains of a hunt. Beyond the glow of the flames, something is watching. Not a bear, not a lion, a wolf. Its yellow eyes reflect the firelight as it waits in the darkness. At this point in history, wolves are among the most feared predators on Earth. They hunt in packs, take down animals many times their size, and compete with humans for food. So here's the mystery. If wolves were dangerous predators, how did they become the friendly dogs sleeping on our couches today? The answer is one of the strangest partnerships in the history of life. And it may have started because both species needed each other. To understand how dogs appeared, we first need to go back to the Ice Age. The world was colder. Huge glaciers covered much of the planet. Humans lived as hunter-gatherers, constantly moving in search of food. Wolves thrived in this environment. They were intelligent, social, and incredibly effective hunters. In many ways, wolves and humans were surprisingly similar. Both lived in groups, both communicated with one another, both cooperated during hunts, and both competed for the same prey. For thousands of years, humans and wolves likely saw each other as rivals. But then something unexpected happened. Some wolves began behaving differently. Instead of avoiding human camps, they started lingering nearby. Why? Food. Human camps produce scraps, bones, leftover meat, waste. For a hungry wolf, this was an opportunity. The wolves that were slightly less aggressive could approach closer without getting chased away. Those wolves gained easier access to food. And because they had more food, they survived longer and produced more offspring. Over many generations, a remarkable process began. The friendliest wolves had the greatest advantage. Without realizing it, humans were shaping wolf evolution. Think about it. No one woke up one morning and decided to invent dogs. There was no ancient human saying, "Let's domesticate wolves." Instead, natural selection was doing the work. The wolves that tolerated humans survived. The wolves that remained highly aggressive stayed in the wilderness. Generation after generation, the population slowly changed. The descendants of these camp-following wolves became less fearful, more curious, more social, and more willing to interact with humans. Scientists call this process self-domestication. In a sense, wolves domesticated themselves. As thousands of years passed, the relationship deepened. Humans benefited too. The wolves could alert camps to approaching predators. They could help track prey. Their powerful senses could detect dangers long before humans noticed them. Imagine hearing a pack member growl in the middle of the night. That warning might save your entire group. Eventually, some wolf pups may have been raised by humans. The friendliest individuals became even more comfortable around people. A partnership was forming, and it was incredibly successful. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating. As wolves became more domesticated, their bodies began to change. Scientists have observed this pattern in many domesticated animals. Friendly behavior often comes with unexpected physical changes: floppy ears, smaller teeth, shorter snouts, different coat colors, even changes in facial expressions. Over thousands of years, these wolf descendants started looking less like wolves and more like what we'd recognize as dogs. Their brains changed too. Dogs became experts at reading human emotions. In fact, dogs are often better at understanding human gestures than chimpanzees. Point at something, and most dogs immediately understand what you're trying to communicate. Wolves, generally, do not. This ability evolved because dogs spent thousands of years living alongside humans. They became specialists in understanding us. Then humans began spreading across the world and dogs came with them. Together they crossed mountains, traversed deserts, survived harsh winters, and explored entirely new continents. Wherever humans went, dogs followed. Different environments led to different jobs. Some dogs guarded livestock, others hunted. Some pulled sleds, others protected homes. Over time, humans began selectively breeding dogs for specific tasks. This process accelerated their transformation. The result? The enormous diversity we see today: the tiny Chihuahua, the powerful Rottweiler, the speedy Greyhound, the intelligent Border Collie, all descended from ancient wolves. Despite their differences, every dog on Earth shares the same distant ancestor. But if dogs came from wolves, why don't modern wolves become dogs? The answer is that today's wolves are not the same populations that gave rise to dogs. The wolves that started the domestication process thousands of years ago no longer exist in their original form. Modern wolves and dogs share a common ancestor, but they follow different evolutionary paths. One remained wild. The other became humanity's closest animal companion. And that companionship changed history. Dogs helped humans hunt more efficiently. They provided protection. They offered companionship. Some researchers even believe that dogs gave humans a competitive advantage over other human groups. In a very real sense, our success and their success became connected. Few relationships in nature have lasted this long. For tens of thousands of years, humans and dogs have evolved side by side, changing one another, shaping one another, depending on one another. So the next time your dog follows you around the house, or waits patiently by the door, or curls up beside you while you sleep, remember what you're looking at, not just a pet, not just a companion, but the result of one of the most extraordinary evolutionary journeys in history. A journey that began with a hungry wolf standing just beyond the light of an ancient campfire, and ended with millions of dogs becoming part of our families. The story of how an ancient wolf became your dog.